Hello viewers, welcome back to the news. Some northern senators attacked the Deputy Senate President, Senator Jubrin, accusing him of being insensitive to the region's plight. Now, these youth representing the 19 northern states are opposed to the proposed tax reform bills, which they believe will further economically marginalize the North. The bill sent by President Bola Tinubu to the National Assembly aimed to ensure uniformity in tax revenue administration, eliminate double taxation, and boost disposable incomes through targeted tax exemptions. However, some northern lawmakers and some leaders have expressed their strong reservations, arguing that these bills would affect the region's economic livelihood. So this particular northern youth wrote an open letter to Jubrin expressing disappointment and dismay at his support for the bills. They went ahead to accuse him of being hell-bent on making the bills a reality, despite knowing they will further impoverish the North. So these youths have now vowed to fight against the bill, which they believe will excavate the region's socio-economic challenges. Now, before now, there have been a lot of fireworks in the Senate over Tinubu's tax reform bills. Some lawmakers are saying no, they are not in support of it, while other persons are saying yes, they are in support of it. But then the North are protesting against these tax reform bills. Yes, the North are protesting against it. Some persons will say the North protesting against it is because they are lazy. They don't want to work hard to generate more revenue for themselves, to generate, for them to be productive so that they can be able to meet up this Tinubu's tax reform bill. But then, what can we say? Everybody with their own opinions, but this has really divided a lot of persons against each other. Because of this Tinubu's tax reform bill, it has generated a heated conversation amongst persons, and this has indeed generated heated debate across the nation. Some social cultural organizations in the country also stated their own positions in this matter, following the controversy surrounding this tax reform bill. Now, the journey to this new controversial bill began in July 2024, when President Tinubu inaugurated the Presidential Fiscal Policy and the Tax Reform Committee. And this committee subsequently informed Nigerians of the move to replace the national tax policy with a more comprehensive one. That's the National Fiscal Policy on Fair Taxation, Responsible Borrowing, and Sustainable Spending. This bettered the four bills, including the Nigeria's Tax Bill 2024, the Tax Administrative Bill, the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill. And they are currently before both chambers of the National Assembly for passage. Reports that the contention over the bill, among other things, is the sharing of the VAT, that's the value added tax, as proposed by the bill. You see, all these things has its own principle. The principle of sharing 60% of the VAT revenue through the derivation principle has continued to spark debates, with northern leaders, northern elites leading the opposition. Now these youth have said they are going to fight against it. According to some northern stakeholders, the VAT arrangement would only favor a particular state, mostly Lagos State, and some few other southern states because they host many company headquarters. How about the North? Where does this leave the North? Reports that the controversy started on October 29th when the northern governors and traditional rulers met and they rejected Tinubu's tax reform bill, Following their stand, the National Executive Council (NEC) on November 1st, during its 145th meeting in Abuja, advised Mr. President to please withdraw this bill. But Tinubu, however, insisted that this bill should be allowed to go through legislative process. And despite the opposition, this tax reform bill on Thursday last week passed its second reading at the upper legislative chamber. And aiding their views, some persons have shared their own mixed feelings regarding this Tinubu's tax reform bill. The North are saying the federal government is being unfair to them in terms of the distribution of resources. Thus, they've raised concerns that the federal government is not being fair to them, because this controversial tax bill is likely to favor them. It will not favor them. So they've said that at this point, the introduction of this tax without addressing the balance and how it will affect them is something that would really bring down their economy. They believe that with this increased taxation, without corresponding improvement in infrastructure, roads, schools, hospital, would potentially burden them, since they are already struggling with poverty, since they are already struggling with unemployment and limited access to essential service. So the large portion of the northern youths, the Arewa youths, they are saying no, they are not going to partake in this, because they are mostly involved in agriculture, small scale businesses. How can they pay tax through all these things? How are they going to implement it? The implementation of this tax reform bill is going to deal with them. It's going to it could potentially cripple their businesses. That's what they are saying, and thus leading to job losses and further economic hardship. So they are handing up from this taxation. They are handing up from this proposed bill. They said no. Since many of their young people in the north engages more in informal sector, some of them tend to lack knowledge and resources to understand how to comply with this Tinubu's new tax laws, and this could potentially lead them to bankruptcy. Who knows? Anything can happen. So the North are seriously questioning Tinubu's tax reform bill. Now they've lashed at the deputy Senate president, saying that they will fight him off, because it's obvious that he's supporting President Tinubu's reform bill. I'm dropping here, guys. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comments section. Thank you.